Ah, blessed be the name of the Lord, people. I'm here again today. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I know I did have a wonderful rested weekend, rested Sabbath. I had somebody text me, how was your Sabbath? Yeah, I had a wonderful Sabbath, rested and looked at a lot of material. And actually, I'm going to be talking about some of that today, some of the material I looked at over the weekend. But I hope you guys really enjoying your Monday. It's rainy kind of here in Colorado today. We had to run back in for the rain come. Went out a little bit to see the homeless people today. So I just wanted to come and tell you guys that a lot is going on about the meat, the wild game, okay? And I know that Deborah Tavari's been talking about it. She have a video out on it. I'm going to be playing a little clipping from it, okay? And you can go listen to the whole entire thing. Her and Nana Danoon is talking about it with a gentleman on there, giving a report from him how he received the sickness that he has from eating wild game. And so, and also I'm going to get into BP Earthwatch. I'm going to let him talk to you about the water conditions going on. Boy, Colorado is part of that. So I'm going to be letting him talk about that. I do have an article that I will place in the description box along with that video, because I was looking at that article here Friday. And I'm like, wow, you know, all this stuff is going on around us, and we got to really have water and filters and take care of ourselves. And so just going to be a lot going on. And so I just heard too on the news that Cape Cod, is I'm saying that right? Cape Cod. I don't know if I'm saying that right. In Africa, Cape Town. Oh my God, I was going to say that don't sound right. Cape Town in Africa, okay, is on fire. So I was just looking at that coming home. And so I would try to put a link in the description box on that, because I don't have copyright stuff to show it to you. But I'm just saying, guys, we are really living in a time of end times all before us. But what did the Father tell us all? To occupy till he comes. So we have to keep busy, keep doing things. I've been really busy myself here lately, doing some new thing I'm looking at to help more funds come into the ministry. So we're going to go on over here now and play some news from Israel. And then I will look at Mary Greeley, the quakes going on. We just had a quake in Iran. And I was looking at Dutch Sense yesterday where he was talking about these quakes coming. So let me go ahead and do that and play a song coming from my friend here. Let me get over and let you see the whole entire fair use notice here. I will go over here and get into my friend there singing, what's his name there? Oh boy, that guy name. Devoted to Yah, from Devoted to Yah, Darian, I think it's Darian. I will go ahead and let him play his guitar a little bit and play this song I love so much. Haven't played it in a while, so thought I would bring it back. I know a lot of you like it, so I'm going to play his song today, and then we'll get into the news. So let me go ahead and do that, because I just want to cover this stuff about the water pretty much and the wild game, okay? To warn you guys about all you hunters out there, people who like to hunt in the wild game. I know a lot of survivalists are out there, and they hunt quite a bit, so we need to be aware of all these things coming, okay? So let me go ahead and just play him right now. Let me mute this out.
This is Darian L. Serrano with Devoted to Yah Ministries, Devoted to Yah Radio. I just want to play one of my songs. It's called How Long? Shalom. I hope you like it.
Most people go along with some people who are wrong, but I'm
this song, waiting for the break of dawn. No, I won't go back to who I used to be. I'll stay in harmony with the one who set me free. I'm indebted to mercy, hungry and thirsty, ready for your kingdom come. I'm holding on firmly, I know that you're worthy. Father, let your will be done. Shatter every lonely and mentality. Prepare our people for a state of emergency. How long will it be till we see the coming of the Son of Man? How long will it be till Yah comes to destroy them wicked men? How long will it be till Babylon is taken from our land? At the end of this age, when we come to the stage where the judge is with his hand. Oh, we gotta move on, we gotta press on for the prize of our lives. Yahushua HaMashiach, Ruach Adonai. I put on the full armor so I can put up a fight. Them evil men pretend to be my friend, but I refuse to bend and bow down to them again. No, I won't go back to who I used to be. I'll stay passionately. No more chains are holding me. We must hold on, we must stay strong. Endure the pain from Babylon, knowing she will receive the judgment from the lion. We're holding on, calling on the King of New Jerusalem. It won't be long, we will be marching into Zion. How long will it be till we see the coming of the Son of Man? How long will it be till Yah comes to destroy them wicked men? How long will it be till Babylon is taken from our land? At the end of this age, when we come to the stage where the judge is with his hand. Oh, we gotta move on, we gotta press on for the prize of our lives. Yahushua HaMashiach, Ruach Adonai. I put on the full armor so I can put up a fight. Oh, we gotta hold on, we gotta press on for the prize of our lives. Yahushua HaMashiach, Ruach Adonai. I put on the full armor so I can put up a fight. How long will we wait till we see his beautiful face? How long must we fight? No more cries in the middle of the night. How long will we wait till we see his beautiful face? How long must we fight? No more cries in the middle of the night. Yeah! Yeah, yeah! Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh.
TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Gazan Islamists launch a rocket toward Israel's southern communities over the weekend, drawing an Israeli retaliatory response. The foreign ministers of Cyprus, Greece, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates conclude a multilateral meeting aimed at further deepening regional cooperation on multiple areas of joint interest. U.S. President Joe Biden voices satisfaction that despite the latest developments, the Islamic Republic of Iran remains engaged to try and revive the 2015 nuclear agreement. Palestinian Islamists launched yet another rocket from the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip toward Israel's southern communities over the weekend, drawing a retaliatory response against militant installations within the coastal enclave. Rocket alert sirens sounded on Friday night in a number of Israeli communities along the Gazan security fence, forcing thousands of civilians into bomb shelters within the IDF Home Front Command's instructed 15 seconds. Thankfully, the projectile landed in an uninhabited area, causing no injuries or damage. Consequently, during the early hours of Saturday morning, Israeli fighter jets and attack helicopters That the targets struck included a Hamas training facility, an anti-aircraft missile launcher post in development, a factory used to produce concrete for the digging of offensive terror tunnels, and a munitions storage warehouse, as well as infrastructure of an offensive terror tunnel belonging to the Hamas terror organization. In other news, the Israeli Air Force has joined Greece, the United States, Cyprus, Canada, the United Arab Emirates, and France in a joint exercise of the Hellenic Armed Forces titled Iniouchos at the Greek Andravida Air Base. This is the first time in which the Israeli Air Force participates in the joint maneuver, which includes dozens of military aircraft. According to the IDF's official statement, the drill will simulate scenarios of air-to-air combat, air superiority, and advanced surface-to-air missile threats above enemy territory. It is important to highlight that the Israeli participation underscores the deepening of bilateral relations between Athens and Jerusalem. These relations were further bolstered yesterday when the Israeli Ministry of Defense and the Hellenic Ministry of National Defense ratified an agreement which amounts to approximately 5.5 billion shekels, equal to a little under 1.4 billion euros or 1.69 billion US dollars, which includes the establishment of operation of an international flight training center for the Hellenic Air Force by the Israeli Aerospace Defense Corporation, Elbit Systems, over a period of 22 years. Turning to the Cypriot city of Paphos, where Cypriot Foreign Minister Nikos Christodoulides hosted his Greek, Israeli, and Emirati counterparts for a multilateral meeting aimed at further deepening regional cooperation on multiple sectors of joint interest.
It is no exaggeration to say that your presence, our gathering in this stunning backdrop of the Mediterranean Sea, is of a symbolic importance. An extended meeting between like-minded countries of the wider region following the historic normalization agreement between UAE and Israel is in and of itself a message. It signifies a new era our region has entered, driven by a common vision our countries and other countries of the region share. One of the wider Eastern Mediterranean, Middle East, and Gulf as an area of stability, prosperity, and peace through cooperation.
The Emirati Foreign Minister seized the opportunity for his part to highlight Abu Dhabi's aspirations for the region, which are evidently shared by its partners present at the multilateral meeting.
We shared today our visions on future cooperation and explored new avenues to expand our relationship in various sectors, including trade, investment, manufacturing, technology, science, health services, and food products. The UAE is seeking an ambitious and positive agenda in the region, and the Abrahamic Accords were mainly driven by the necessity of an alternative strategic view of the region based on stability, prosperity, and opportunity.
The Abraham Accords, which by mediation of the United States under the previous Trump administration realized 4 separate normalization agreements between Israel and Muslim-majority states, has been singled out as a significant accomplishment which contributes to regional peace, prosperity, and stability. Hence, Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi urged additional countries and entities to join the circle of peace. Along deliberations on the deepening of multilateral cooperation, Minister Ashkenazi also highlighted the joint acknowledgement of the need to confront regional concerns, jointly regarded as such together.
We discussed many possibilities for building the prosperity and the stability of the region, yet we also took time to discuss challenges that Iran and Hezbollah and other extremists pose to the stability of the Middle East and to the regional peace. We will do whatever it takes to prevent this extremism to success, and definitely we will prevent this regime from having nuclear weapons.
The Greek Foreign Minister, for his part, seized the opportunity to highlight common interests which unite the 4 participating countries, as well as the exchange of views on common concerns which must be tackled in the wider region of the Eastern Mediterranean.
Today we also had the opportunity to exchange views on areas of common concern, such as developments in the Eastern Mediterranean, Libya, Syria, and Yemen. In this context, I had the opportunity to inform my colleagues about my recent visits to Libya over the past few days. In view of the elections that are scheduled to take place in December, one fundamental precondition is the withdrawal of all foreign forces present on the ground in Libya. I also addressed the meetings I had yesterday in Ankara. In this context, I reiterated that each side has its own views, clearly manifested during the press conference many of you may have seen.
The referred to press conference following a meeting between Foreign Minister Nikos Dendias and his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu in Ankara escalated when the top diplomat of Athens made the following remarks.
Και στο πλαίσιο αυτό η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση έχει υιοθετήσει μια διπλή προσέγγιση. Έτσι, το ενδεχόμενο λήψης μέτρων υπάρχει πάντα στο τραπέζι του Συμβουλίου. Εάν υπάρξουν παραβατικές και παράνομες ενέργειες σε βάρος της κυριαρχίας και κυριαρχικών δικαιωμάτων μας, υπάρχει πάντοτε το ενδεχόμενο λήψης μέτρων. Βεβαίως, απευχόμαστε τις παράνομες ενέργειες με όλη μας την καρδιά.
The Turkish top diplomat immediately voiced his outrage.
Yunanistan'ı itham edici bir söylem içinde bulunmadım. Ama bu ilk görüşmenin biz daha pozitif bir atmosferde devam etmesini arzu ediyorduk. Fakat Nikos Dendias yaptığı konuşmada maalesef ülkeme yönelik son derece kabul edilemez ithamlarda bulundu. Öncelikle Türkiye'nin Yunanistan'ın egemenlik haklarını ihlal ettiğini söyledi. Bunu kabul etmemiz mümkün değil. Tüm bunlara rağmen Türkiye olarak biz üçüncü taraflar yerine iki ülke olarak tüm bu meseleleri konuşmaya ve bundan sonra uluslararası hukuk sistemi çerçevesinde samimi bir diyalog çerçevesinde bu konularda görüş ayrılıklarımızı azaltmaya ve işbirliğimizi güçlendirmeye hazırız. Başkalarının bir faydası olmaz. Başkaları ancak silah satar, başka amaçlar güder ama biz meselelerimizi çözebiliriz.
Turning to Washington, where U.S. President Joe Biden referred to Iran's decision to raise its uranium enrichment to 60% as unhelpful, it voiced satisfaction of the Ayatollah regime's continued agreement to engage in indirect talks with the United States on seeking ways to revive the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, which is the technical term for the 2015 nuclear agreement.
We do not support and do not think it's at all helpful that Iran is saying it's going to move to enrich to 60%. It is contrary to the agreement. We are, though, nonetheless, pleased that Iran has continued to agree to engage in discussions, indirect discussions with us and with our partners on how we move forward and what is needed to allow us to move back into the JOPCA so that we're part of it again, that we should have never gotten out of it, in my view, without us making concessions that we're just not willing to make. And so the discussions are underway. I think it's premature to make a judgment as to what the outcome will be, but we're still talking.
The second round of indirect talks in Vienna, backed by the remaining members of the JCPOA, including France, Britain, Germany, Russia, and China, concluded on Saturday. And while the talks were overshadowed by growing concerns regarding the Islamic Republic's decision to further distance itself from the 2015 agreement, the Chinese representative at the talks revealed that the relevant parties agreed to further pick up the pace.
Parties have agreed to further pick up their pace in subsequent days by engaging more extensive work, more extensive substantive work on sanction lifting, as well as other relevant issues.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up China in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Essen wishing you a Shavua Tov U'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. Yesterday there in Iran there was a major earthquake, a magnitude 6.1 earthquake, which USGS downgraded to a magnitude 5.8. This is the second earthquake that was a magnitude 6.0 or greater in the last 24 hours that USGS has downgraded. Buildings have collapsed there. People have been injured and killed there. And I believe the reason they downgraded this earthquake is because earthquakes this year have increased by at least 4 to 5 more a month than last year. On the USGS website that keeps track of earthquakes, magnitude 6 or greater is listed as only 57. If you add in the 2 that were not reported, that were downgraded by USGS, it would be 59 so far this year, and this is April 19th, 2021. Last year there was only 124 earthquakes of a magnitude 6.0 or greater, an average of about 10.3 earthquakes a month. This year there's an average of 14.75 earthquakes a month of a magnitude 6.0 or greater. I have been reporting to you that you're going to see an increase in earthquakes and volcanic eruptions around the world, and this is one of them. On the USGS website, 88 people reported it to USGS. Did you feel it? EMSC doesn't even have it listed. On Twitter, there's a post to a YouTube video showing buildings that have collapsed. People running for their lives. I'll give you a link to that. Another Twitter post on the earthquake in Iran. You can see the dust from the hills. It says that there is no damage, supposedly, to the Bushehr nuclear power plant. Yeah, look at the dust that got kicked up from that earthquake. Amazing. USGS has a red alert about fatalities. Another Twitter post from Bandar. Yeah, look at all the rock slides that are occurring over there. And another Twitter post showing people rushing out. They do scan over to the mountains where the rock slides are occurring. Right over there. Yeah, you can see how the ground, from the faults, from the shaking. Another Twitter post showing the damage, the collapsed walls of many of these homes. And another Twitter post, we got broken water lines more than likely. Power outages. So this earthquake was a strike thrust earthquake. This blue line drawn out is the Zagros fault zone. And zooming in, we can see how far it is from the Bushehr nuclear power plant right there. The moment tensor ball. Here you can see the first wave of the earthquake came from the northeast. Tension was applied straight up. Yeah, this is a thrust earthquake. Geoscope has it listed as a 6.0 earthquake. It was probably a 6.1. Here you can see the fault line as it moved southwest, dipping down, and then the other fault line rising up over it, going northeast. Different scholarly papers talk about this fault zone. It moves about 10 millimeters a year. It's a right lateral fault zone that they used to think was inactive. Yeah, main thrust, now inactive. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, did someone create this earthquake? I would not be surprised if Iran is not going to blame Israel. Earthquakes are increasing around the world. Here's a location of all the recent earthquakes within the last week on USGS. Here we have that 5.8, actually 6.1 earthquake. There was a 4.4, another 4.4, a 4.3, a 4.6, a 4.2, and more recently in the same location, a 4.1. So what are your thoughts? Please put your comments down below. Thank you for watching. Always be prepared for a disaster. Please stay safe, and I will talk to you later.
2021. Guys, you're looking at an article this afternoon that has a lot to do with a video I did a few videos back. And I talked about a drought and famine and starting out on the West Coast. And I want to read this because it has implications far and wide. But it says, the western U.S. states prepare for first ever water shortage declaration. Hoover Dam hydroelectric generation at risk. Guys, that's Arizona, New Mexico, a couple other places. A large part of the electricity there. And the water shortage is going to cut back on not only water and power, but all the crops, the fields in that area. So that's going to end up contributing to the famine. It says, as the man-made lakes, which store water for millions of people in the western U.S., are projected to shrink to historic lows in the coming months, state officials prepare for what could trigger the first ever federally declared water shortage, which would prompt cutbacks in water usage in Arizona and Nevada. Now, it will be the first time it's been done federally, and we are under a new federal government. But think about that, first ever declared water shortage, Arizona, Nevada. And guys, Arizona's got some huge population places in it. And, you know, you've got agriculture, you've got just the population of the Phoenix area alone and the amount of water that is used there and needed. But you're looking at a picture of the Hoover Dam, and that's one of the areas that will be affected. It's saying, according to the AP, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation's 24-month projections released this week forecasts that less water would flow from the Rocky Mountains through Lake Powell, Lake Mead, and to the southwest desert regions, ends up in the Gulf of California. The two lakes are expected to suffer from water shortages that could threaten the supply of the Colorado River, which farms and sprawling cities rely on. Lake Mead is projected to fall below 1,075 feet for the first time this coming June. Guys, that's just about 6 weeks away. The level which will trigger the shortage declaration under agreements negotiated by 7 states which are reliant on Colorado River water is Arizona. Think of the population there, California. Unbelievable amount of people. Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. That said, the April projections won't have any material effect unless conditions fail to improve, in which case the Bureau of Reclamation will declare a level 1 shortage condition, resulting in cuts that would take effect next January. Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico have voluntarily given up water under a drought contingency plan for the river signed in 2019. A shortage declaration would subject the 2 U.S. states to their first mandatory reductions. Both rely on the Colorado River for more than any other water source, and Arizona stands to lose roughly 1/3 of its supply. Water agency officials say they are confident that preparation measures including conservation and seeking out alternative sources will allow them to withstand cuts if the drought lingers as expected. The study, while significant, is not a surprise. It reflects the impacts of the dry and warm conditions across the Colorado River basins this year, as well as the effects of prolonged drought that has impacted the Colorado River supply. Now, guys, think about it. As the population has increased across the Southwest, that is an impact. It says Arizona officials from the State Department of Water Resources and the Central Arizona Project. This came out in a joint statement. In Nevada, special straws have been constructed to draw water from further down Lake Mead if levels fall, and the state has created a credit system where it can bank recycled water back into the reservoir. Recycle water. without having it count towards its allocation, according to the report. Southern Nevada Water, the Director of Water Resources, Colby Pellegrino, told customers recently that those preparation measures would insulate them from any cuts, but warned that more action is needed. It is incumbent upon all users of the Colorado River to find ways to conserve, she said in a statement. Guys, the Colorado River is not that big of a river. I mean, you know, we got the Mississippi River over here, and it's big, but the Colorado River is not that big. And I mean, it's just hard to comprehend, but again, you're going to recycle wastewater back into your reservoirs. At Lake Mead, water levels are projected in the Bureau of Reclamation report to drop to the point where electricity generation at the Hoover Dam could be compromised as the hydropower plant serves millions of customers, Arizona, California, Nevada. Now, they continue, it says, to prepare for a future with less water. The Bureau has spent 10 years replacing parts of 5 of the dam's 17 turbines that rotate to generate power. Lynn Schilling, a dam manager with the Bureau, said the addition of wide head turbines allow the dam to operate more efficiently at lower water levels. He said the turbines will be able to generate power almost to a point called dead pool, where there won't be enough water for the dam to function. As in any type changing, and now a lot of people talk about man-made climate change or whatever. We're in grand solar minimum, and there are effects, and the radiation is increasing on this planet. If you don't believe me, you haven't been out in the hot sun. We've been talking about this for about 4 years now, and that has an effect on evaporation. He said, Schilling continues, said, less water moving through the Hoover Dam again means less hydropower to go around. As the elevation declines at the lake, then our ability to produce power declines as well because we have less water pushing the turbines, of course. Now, scientists have begun using the term mega drought to describe the multi-year drought that has been plaguing the western half of the country, and now we're being told that it looks like 2021 will be the worst year of this mega drought so far by a wide margin. Drought leads to famine. That is extremely troubling news because major water reservoirs have already dropped to dangerously low levels. Some farmers have been told that they will not be allowed to use any water at all this year. Again, new federal policies under a new federal government.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I will put another link in the description box. This whole article that he's talking about, I read it myself. Everybody's being affected, so like in the Midwest and all from California. And if you've been looking at, if you listen to StopTheCrime.net, she talk about all this stuff too, but they're going to come up with this water excuse for water not being available. And she talk about some other avenues you can use for that on StopTheCrime.net with Deborah Tavares. I'm going to go on over to her video now with the gentleman talking about the wild game, okay? I can't play the whole thing. My time is really limited today here. But I'm going to play a little bit what this guy's just talking about it in a few, just a little short version of what he's saying about these elk and wild animals. I told you on another video that the rabbits, the hare, all these animals are having diseases. And I know in the Bible it give you animals to eat unclean and clean, but now the animals that we can eat are being affected. So I guess that's why a lot of people becoming vegan and vegetarians. But you know, we just have to be all careful about everything. Even the vegetables get sometimes trouble. So we just have to pray and watch and pray about everything now. We can't not be. We have to keep our God on everything now. So let me go ahead and go on over to that article and let you see what she's talking about in this article here about what happens to a man when his governments turn on him. But I'm going to play just a very little bit. I already lined it up where I want to start it off at, but it's a 51-minute video, so you can go and listen to the whole thing, okay? So let me go ahead and play it. It's a very good, it's a very good video to listen to the whole thing. I listened to the whole thing, but I'm just going to play a very little bit of it. So let me go ahead and mute it out again and let you hear it. Okay.
That because of memory and your lack of ability to track and stay on track, that you were appreciative that I was working with you to help you stay on track.
Yeah.
So
how are we doing?
I hope that everybody thinks we're doing great.
Okay.
I want to have you go back to some of the other symptoms that you're now feeling, because this is a painful, painful way to die.
It is.
And you have mouth pain you were talking about.
I do. I have a pain in throughout my jaw, up into my facial plates, behind my nasal cavity, that goes through to the base of the skull and down my spine. It's horrendous. I wouldn't wish this on anyone for 5 minutes, and it's been this way 24/7 for the last 5 years. It's truly an unbearable pain. The numbness is persisting. It's getting worse, from head to toe.
You told me that you feel like your bones are melting.
That's true. That's exactly what it feels, Deborah, like I'm being microwaved to death from the external elements, and then from within, it also feels like everything is just collapsing. Kind of like if you had a tent without the tent poles, and there was just a feeling of collapse. That's or a car with no air in the tires. That's about how it is. And again, this is a rapidly onset disease. If it is a CJD, I'm never going to know. I'm never going to have that validated. And at this stage, it wouldn't make a difference. But the symptoms are, it's pervasive through the body. The muscles, that I used to have plenty of strength. I used to be an excellent skier, top to bottom, black diamond runs, anything I wanted to do. Now I couldn't even lift my skis and walk 100 yards. That's the difference.
Well, you talked about lifting your toothbrush.
It's almost too much. A 49-year-old guy who had plenty of strength 5 years ago can now barely hold a toothbrush.
So
think about that for a second. But
yeah,
could I just elaborate a bit on the hunting, because I know you emphasized that, and I didn't really get a chance to say as much as I'd like to. When I started looking into this prion condition, and I stumbled across the CJD and the VCJD, which is the variant CJD, and the mad cow disease and this sort of thing, I started to think, well, I happened to be in the UK in the mid-'80s, right at that time. I was on safari in Africa in 2005. They say that this disease can lay dormant for 10, 20, 30, even 40 years or longer, that there is a link into the tribes that they've studied, and they've researched the origins of some of these prion disorders. So I started to think, well, where else could this have come from if it is in fact what I think it is, and I started to look into the hunting in the United States and the deer situation, and I could see videos. I made phone calls. I could hear people's testimonials about how concerned they were in these states for balancing this effort between what they didn't know, what they were afraid of, what they were seeing in the herds, and then the pressure they were receiving from the states to keep it under wraps. Because in many of these rural states, Idaho being one of them, it's a big business here.
Yeah.
The hotels, the clothing, the ammunition, the licensing, the guns, the training facilities. If you think it all the way through, people come from all over the country, some parts of the world, to come to states like Idaho or Montana or Colorado and do their big game hunting. So the last thing they're going to want to tell the public is, don't bother coming. It could kill you. It's dangerous. So do your own research. Look into it. Take a look at the deer, the elk, the sheep, the concern they're seeing through these herds, as well as the work that's being done out of Canada, Alberta, Canada specifically. I'm not sure if it's out of Edmonton or Calgary, but it is the world center for this research revolving around prion disorders and where it can cross the blood-brain barrier, where it can cross and jump species, and is there concern with having this resurface in the beef industry, and could it be a contaminant for humans? My belief is absolutely. We should all be concerned about this, especially from the aerosol spraying and the bombarding EMFs And if you're in an unfortunate situation where you find yourself consuming venison or elk, you know, it can come that way too.
Yeah, in the NASA document that I've reported on many times, it talks about the aerosol of prions and others. And when Yana and I literally broke the story about prions in the vaccination, that was also another concern that we were, it was part of the death dumps, the overhead aerosol spraying program for weather modification and other destructive diseases and what's been occurring. But you know, during our conversation, you picked up a paper that you had there today, and I researched about this rabbit hemiographic disease that has now appeared in Idaho over the last couple of days. This is now being discussed. So this ties into what we're talking about, Trevor, and what is occurring. And I found, as I was investigating this, after I typed it in, and moments before we started this program right now, and I wanted to tell you, Trevor, what I discovered. You might find this interesting and looping back into what has happened with you. But I found that while they're saying that they've now just discovered this hemiographic disease in rabbits, and we're going to talk about what that is, it's been in New Mexico, and New Mexico was the first state, they say, to record a case of this strain of HRD, rabbit hemiographic disease, last year in wild rabbits. It's since been detected in several other western states. So let's talk about how that affects humans. They're saying that flu and fever, diarrhea, gastrointestinnitis, neurological symptoms, rashes, and hepatitis. They say that dogs and cats and other pets, while it doesn't appear that they can contract the disease, our pets could act as carriers, just like vehicles, shoes, and equipment can. What they are saying is that we can track this infection on our shoes, on our car tires, and our pets and equipment, and spread it everywhere. So now here's what I discovered. And I will send out an email blast for all of you that are signed up. You will get this as an email blast. But this is just hot off the press, and I'm reading this to you now as I have discovered this, because I was dumbstruck when I discovered that that this was first recognized in Angora rabbits exported from Germany to China in 1984, and it spread to Korea, Europe, including the British Isles, Mexico, Israel, North Africa, and that this hemorrhagic disease escaped from quarantine and was then purposefully dispersed in Australia, where introduction of European rabbits in the 19th century left the island continent with a staggering rabbit infestation. The rabbits' appetite and their burrowing practices and reproductive capacity wreaked ecological and agricultural devastation with serious consequences for the Australian economy. And the propagation of this disease was deliberate to wipe out and reduce the rabbits. Now let's talk about this. They say that rabbits will display fevers, restlessness, lethargy, poor appetites, and they will have bloody discharges from their nose, and blood-stained cage floors can be noticed. And rabbits who have recovered from the less severe symptoms of this purposefully inflicted bioweapon usually go on to develop liver disease with weight loss and lethargy. And this was March 5th of 2020. Now they're just saying on March 30th of 2021 that the first case now, as you informed me of, Trevor, appeared in Idaho. So we're talking a couple of days ago, when in fact they've known that this has been released in multiple countries worldwide since the early 80s. And this was purposefully released to kill off the rabbits. So when we talk about the prion disease, Trevor, that you have, and that many people are listening now have and don't know they have it, these are bioweapons.
Yes,
now, Trevor, I acknowledge your strength in coming forward and discussing this with everyone that's listening to this evening. And I cannot tell you enough the importance of explaining to those that are listening what you personally are going through and the lack of guidance medically that you had. In fact, actually the avoidance of information. So where are you now? Talk to the audience about where are you right now? You're on this phone call, of course, but what is your life like today?
It's miserable. I'm in hell. Every day I tell my family when I wake up that I'm still here. They're getting tired of hearing that. They love me, but it's been exhausting. It's been sort of a slow kill program. 5 years straight down every day, feeling worse, barely hanging on. You can imagine what this does to the people who do care about you. I used to take care of 6 lawns as I owned some investment property, and I did that for years.
So now you can barely look out the window.
I could barely move the rake for 5 minutes. It's springtime here. The snow is melting. The grass is starting to come up. I need to get a very thin layer of leaves off of the ground, and I could literally spend 5 minutes out there today and come back, go back out for 5 minutes, come back. I feel like I'm 130 years old. That's what's going on today.
So now let's talk about this, because obviously you're fighting the reality that you're living in with all that you have to continue to live.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Okay, guys, I'm telling you, you need to listen to the whole thing. Okay, it's really dramatizing to go through that, but that's why I'm doing this video. I'm trying to get it out to you guys. I hope you get it out to people. A lot of people hunt elk and deer and wild game and hunt rabbits, and so you need to get it out to your family, to your people who hunt, and let people be aware of it. I was even telling my mother this week, down in Florida, they shouldn't be going into the ocean catching these crabs and eating all this seafood, because a lot of it's contaminated. Okay, the waters are contaminated down in Tampa and all over. They talk about the contamination of these lakes and waters. So it's time to be wise and know that, that's why I say I think a lot of people dying from that crap, and they trying to put it on the the COVID, but it ain't even about the COVID. It's some other things probably going on with people. And they putting all the, the ratings up like COVID, but, we have to be wise, people. Be wise, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there, and I will put it in the description box. I got to get over to the Bible real quick. I don't have but 14 verses to read from Titus 2, okay? And this video here, I love this brother Eugene Sneed. His videos, he don't have them all the time, but this one I'm interested in listening to myself. I haven't had time to listen to anything. I've been in training for something else, but this God showed me who will receive the mark of the beast may not be what you think, and I'm interested in listening to it myself. So I just thought I would throw it up here on the and give it to you guys in the description box where you can go listen to it. But I'm going over here now to the Bible. That's what I need to do. So let me go on over here to the Bible right now, over here in the Bible, and get over to Titus 2, because I have a few things to say about Titus 2 and some other things personal that I want to talk about from that chapter. But I tell you, we are in the end at the end, and we got to be very, very careful about what we eat, what we drink, what we do. Even that's crap, We need to be very particular about those things. What they're putting in your body, I'm not, they haven't experimented with this thing long enough to be giving all the jabs to the young people, to the babies, to, I feel really bad about it, people. I really do. I don't feel happy about it at all, okay? And in Florida down there in Fort Lauderdale, they was having a riot, not a riot, but what do you call it when they go a protest against the jabs and the masks. They want to take them off. They had a burning of the masks. I was looking at yesterday. But you know, it's just that we're going through all these things in life because we've been so conditioned. We've been so conditioned and bamboozled, you know, and so we got to have some kind of sense for ourselves. Yeshua give us wisdom. If we ask him for wisdom, he give us wisdom, okay? So it says here, God's righteousness upheld. Oh, I'm in the wrong scripture. I'm sorry about that, guys. Hold on. That's the wrong text there. I'm supposed to be in Titus. Titus here. Titus 2, okay? Titus 2. So, Father, be with me as I read from your word to the people. I tell you, boy, we need sound doctrine. We need truth. We need wisdom. We need all these things. We need love for one another. We need help. We need to care for one another. So I ask that your Holy Spirit help us to really be what you want us to be in these end times. Doing the best we can do, and just doing the utmost of what you have called us to do at this time in our life. So we ask that your Holy Spirit come be with the people. We ask it in the mighty name of Yeshua Messiah, Jesus the Christ. So it says here, teach sound doctrine. Okay, but let me go ahead and read this. I'm going to read it from the Unlocked King James Version. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged man be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. You know what? I'm going to just stop there and comment on that one verse, that one scripture there, because I heard a minister this week, and I'm not going to call any names here now. I was so disturbed by it, okay? But you listen to that. Aged men. As we get older, we get more mature. We're supposed to be aging and be more mature and be more patient and be more, sound in faith. And it seems like today people are getting more impatient, no self-control. Everybody's just being like a Hitler. Some of these pastors and people and leaders, and I don't get it, but they are. They're like, who are they, you know? It's like God's supposed to be our God, and they want to be our God. So I was listening to someone this week, and I won't get into the name, but really disturbing. We need to pray for our pastors today, leaders today, because a lot of them is getting way off target, way off God, people, way off God. The aged woman likewise, see the man, the woman and the man, the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. And you know, that's all people talking about. All these ministers are mixing alcohol with all their teachings and all their beliefs and all the feast days that come along. Everybody think they're supposed to get high and get drunk and all this stuff. And that is not what the Bible teach at all, because my husband can do a better talk on it than I can about the wine and how, back in those times they didn't even have the wine being... They did not have distilled liquor. They do not have distilled liquor, he said. Distilled liquor back in those times. And, the devil bring along all this stuff and put it in our systems. And we think it's God, and it's nothing to do with God. He said for us not to be, he told us to be sober. That's all what he always said, to be sober. But, we teach all these things to people, like it going on down here and read some more, not given to much wine, teacher of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober. See, there it is. To love their husbands, to love their children. What happened when you get drunk and get crazy? You start going out fornicating. You start doing things you shouldn't do. You start killing people. You start just getting angry. I don't see nothing good about drinking too much alcohol or drinking any of it. I even cut down. I might have a non-alcoholic beer once in a while, okay? But I'm just saying, drinking and all this stuff that people do, all this hard liquor and just, oh man, and pastors are doing this stuff. Pastors are doing this stuff, and you want to know why they don't have any patience and why they don't have any self-control. Well, that can tell you right there alone, okay? To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedience to their own husbands, that the word of Yahuwah be not blasphemed. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded. Okay, sober. He wants us to be sober. He keeps saying sober. That word sober. In all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned. Oh man, sound speech. Oh my God, I don't even want to go there. Oh my goodness. I heard this man this week, this pastor, cursing like a sailor. I mean, every word is GDD and da da da. And you call that having the character of Yeshua? Oh no, people. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm sorry. My God is not like that. He's a kind, gentle, loving, caring Father who cares about all living things, all people, all humans. And you know, speech matters with him. He's not going to go around cursing you out and swearing, and you know, that is not Yeshua. And then you hear people say, "Oh well, I'm going God's will." You better go check yourself. You better go check yourself. I don't think that's God's will at all. God's character at all. Okay, sound speech that cannot be condemned. Okay, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed. That's what you should be, really ashamed when you talk that way. Having no evil thing to say of you. Oh, my people. Wise up, people. Wise up. Exhort servants to be obedient unto their own masters, to please them well in all things, not answering again, not embezzling, but showing all good fidelity, that they may adorn the doctrine of Yahuwah, our Savior, in all things, all things. For the grace of Yahuwah that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. Okay, do you get that, people? Sober don't mean going around walking drunk. Sober don't mean going around potting and doping and smoking. It just doesn't, okay? Now, you can call it what you want to, but it's not God's character. Okay, it's not God's character. Looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearing of great Yahuwah and our Savior Yeshua, Messiah, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify into himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. Okay, good works, not bad works. So embarrassing. I don't even want to tell nobody I got this pastor that curse every time he opened his mouth. Why would I want to introduce somebody to somebody like that? These things speak and exhort and rebuke with all authority. Let no man despise thee. Let no man despise thee. People, don't listen to lies, okay? Don't listen to lies. So that's my subject for today on the Bible in Titus 2. I hope you got something out of that, because I did, okay? And I'm telling you, people need to wake up and wise up. We have 57 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end my video here. I'm going over here now to Maranatha and end this video. Make sure you go look. I can't wait to see what Eugene Sneed have to say about that. I kind of like his videos. But let me go on over here to Maranatha right now and go to, well, I didn't even set it up for you guys. I'm sorry. Been such a busy day today to me. A busy day. Monday's always busy. Let me go on over here to August 6th, okay? August 6th, did I pass it? Okay, if I hear. Reaching the height of Christian perfection, okay, like we just talked about. Yeshua wants us to reach our Christian perfection. He wants us to have integrity and patience and self-control and all these things, you know. He don't want us to be walking around here talking about we representing him and cursing like a sailor and drinking like a sailor and just acting like we have no self-control. That is not his character at all, people. So let's go here and say hi. Let's go ahead and read here from the Reaching the Heights of Christian Perfection. Let me go ahead and mute it out real quick here.
August 6th, reaching the height of Christian perfection. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Ephesians 3:20. If you make God your strength, you may, under the most discouraging circumstances, attain a height and breadth of Christian perfection which you hardly think it possible to reach. Your thoughts may be elevated, You may have noble aspirations, clear perceptions of truth, and purposes of action which will raise you above all sordid motives. Both thought and action will be necessary if you would attain to perfection of character. While brought in contact with the world, you should be on your guard that you do not seek too ardently for the applause of men and live for their opinion. Cultivate the grace of humility and hang your helpless souls upon Christ. In the midst of confusion and temptation in the worldly crowd, you may with perfect sweetness keep the independence of the soul. If you are in daily communion with God, you will learn to place His estimate upon men, and the obligations resting upon you to bless suffering humanity will meet with a willing response. You are not your own. Your Lord has sacred claims upon your supreme affections and the very highest services of your life. He has a right to use you in your body and in your spirit to the fullest extent of your capabilities for His own honor and glory. Whatever crosses you may be required to bear, you are to accept without a murmur. Many are without God and without hope in the world. They are guilty, corrupt, and degraded, enslaved by Satan's devices. Yet these are the ones whom Christ came from heaven to redeem. They are subjects for tenderest pity, sympathy, and tireless effort, for they are on the verge of ruin. They suffer from ungratified desires, disordered passions, and the condemnation of their own consciences. They are miserable in every sense of the word, for they are losing their hold on this life and have no prospect for the life to come. You have an important field of labor, and you should be active and vigilant, rendering cheerful and unqualified obedience to the Master's calls.
Wow, wow, wow. What can I say? Titus 2 just told you guys that too. Titus 2 just said that. A lot of that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I really want to thank you guys for being here watching today. I know the country is in a mess, in a real mess. We know the Lord have it in His control as these wars and fires. Like I said, Cape Town is on fire really bad in Africa right now. Be praying for Cape Town. A lot of things going to be going on, shootings and all these things, people, going to escalate as the time clock is running out. We know Americans' moral foundation, the Ten Commandments. We have just left the Ten Commandments. We don't want to even talk about the Ten Commandments. So we need to know that the commandments still stand with God. They still stand today. Loving your neighbor as yourself, honoring your father and your mother. Thou shalt not make any graven images unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before Him. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Thou shalt not covet. A lot of people covering in today. Covering. Oh, I want to have what my neighbor have. I got to have this. I got to have that. So, you know, the commandments was made to keep us in line, to keep us in self-control, to keep us in order. Keep us in order on the planet. But we don't want to have nothing to do with order. We want all chaos going on all around us. Chaos is everywhere. So we just know, we look forward for the day when God will come through the clouds with all His holy angels. And I definitely want to be there when He comes. So people, just be praying for one another. We was just over at the homeless site today. Talked to some brothers there. We talked to here in the back tent and in other tent sides here, and other brother living waves on the other side of the tent. Didn't get to see him today, but we know that we just have to be taking care of people in our neighborhoods, watching out for people. This is another picture here I want to show you as well. Marlene from Redding, California. She always go out and help the homeless. I don't have my where's my bag at? My homeless bag at? You know, I have a big bag here and I take it out with me. And I like how Marlene have that. Marlene has her little bags there ready, because that's what I do. We have the little bags. We take out little bags and give to them, and also we put a $10 bill in there, a $20 bill, depends on if they have a car, need gas or whatever. But we do this about twice a week now, and sometimes we used to do it 3 times a week, but we go personally Mondays and Fridays now. I'm getting like a busy schedule here. But it's time for all of us to be concerned about our neighbor, be concerned about our friends and neighbors on the street, not living in homes, and living in tents under the bridges, just everywhere, you know, in their cars and their trucks. And some people go in, you know, all kind of hidden places trying to find a place to get out of the way of the public sometime, because people like to, you know, intimidate the homeless a lot of times. So we need to be helping them, praying for them, and helping them out, people. So I really appreciate each and every one of your offerings that come in to help the widows, the orphans, and the people out in these conditions, okay? The less fortunate, as one friend was telling me, the less fortunate. So we need to know that soon and very soon, Yeshua's going to come. So we just need to get ready, preach the gospel. I think today we was talking to a brother about, he asked some questions about Obadiah. I had just preached on that on my channel. But the homeless people is really need our support, and mentally, spiritually, and physically right now in your area. So we thank you all for your offerings to help the homeless, the orphans, the widows, and those in need in mission fields. May Yahuwah richly bless each and every one of you. The donation options is fmcmi.org, marner.camel@gmail.com, at PayPal on your mobile device, digital business card.
You can pause that video and scan those.
And my husband was saying if I pause this video, they can scan these. You can scan these. Scan these SR, what do you call it? QR code. You can scan these, and you'll see our bump card show up on your digital phone, okay? So it's https://GinaMarner.thebumpcard.me. I'm telling you guys, this is a great opportunity. If a lot of you are home, sitting home doing nothing and want some income, you need to really talk to me about this bump card. I'm telling you, because it's getting to be very fascinating to make some extra income. I don't care if you're homeless. I don't care what your condition is. If you have a cell phone and a laptop, or mostly a cell phone, you can probably be a part of this great opportunity. So let me go on down here. Mail in your donation to Fill My Cup Ministries, Post Office Box 414, Canon City, Colorado 81215. Shipping address, Fill My Cup Ministries, 1501 Main Street, number 414, Canon City, Colorado 81212. So I'm going to just go now, people. I really just going to do a short prayer for you, because I know I got to be on another engagement here in a minute. But I really thank you guys for watching. I just wanted to get that information out to you about the water and about the meat. So my video today going to be called Don't Eat That Meat, and water and news and that kind of thing. But don't eat that wildlife, people. Be very particular about how you hunt for wildlife right now. The disease, you know. Ellen G. White years ago talked about this coming. She really did, back in 1800. She talked about this time was coming when we will not be able to eat meat healthily, you know, healthily. And we won't be able to have water, the water not purified. You know, we've got to be very careful how we eat now, consume things in our bodies right now, okay? So, Father, be with all the people watching. We thank you so much for being God all by yourself. We love you so much. We thank you for all you're doing, Father. We know the world is in the end time. We are in the end at the end. We know soon and very soon you're going to come through the clouds with all your holy angels. But we pray that you will help us get through these times of trouble. Because you said to pray that we'll be worthy to escape these things coming on the earth. I bind Satan and all his evil angels, below, beyond, beneath, mentioned and unmentioned, known and unknown. I bind all evil spirits on assignment against us in every way. We ask for your Holy Spirit to cover us with the blood of Yeshua. And we ask that you please supply the people's needs according to your riches and glory, whether it's physical, mentally, spiritually. We really need your help more than ever. We need you every hour, Father. I ask that people will give their life to Messiah today if you have not. As it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So we know we can have all these things going on around us. We can stock food up. We can do all kind of things. But if we don't have our soul right with Messiah, we are just lost people. So it's all about finding Messiah, seeking his face right now, while we can seek him, because time is short. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to say, Father, just bless the people watching today. And we thank you so much for being God all by yourself. We ask these blessings in your name. Shalom. So I'm going to go now, people. I hope to be back with another video as soon as I can. I try to do videos 2 to 3 times a week. I used to try to do them every day when I first started out, but it just can't happen anymore. So I will come on here at least, you'll see me on here at least, twice a week at least. And then sometime 3 times a week. But I try to do what I can. But you guys can write me, email me if you got questions about anything. My husband would be glad to answer questions, especially Bible questions. If you got questions and stuff you need answering, okay? So I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on another video. This video is going to be an hour and 10 minutes today. So you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. I love you guys so much. Shalom, shalom. I love you guys so much. Shalom, shalom.